Little things can take away more than we think as we're working. We feel like we're getting a lot done. We're tapping, we're clicking, but if we could get more done with the same number of keystrokes, the same number of mouse clicks, then why not try to improve? So if you're a professional who taps out a living on a keyboard, maybe an administrative assistant, a writer, whatever, then I want you to listen to what I have to say, because in this series, I'm going to be talking about things that you can do to streamline your workflow, to make every minute of your work time count. So I'm Peter Ron-Hubdy, and while I've done a number of things over the course of my life, I feel like right now I want to lean towards my educator side and try to help you improve and streamline your writing and editing workflow as you develop your next manuscript. Now, time's a finite resource, and we'd all like to get more done. And that's the point of this series, is helping you streamline your workflow so that you can get more done while you're editing and writing. So let me show you 3 of my favorite keyboard shortcuts. Now, really the first 2 are my favorites. And in fact, those I kind of kicked myself for not learning years ago when I got serious about writing. And so I hope you find it useful, because I sure have. So let's get to work. So here's the first one I want to share with you. Actually pretty simple in the implementation. I have a paragraph. If I want to move up 3 paragraphs above it, and so it seems easy enough task, I can do that. And yes, you can. But here we're talking about streamlining, doing things efficiently. And what do I do here? The standard way to do this would be hit home, hit up arrow to go to the beginning of the paragraph in this particular configuration, select the paragraph with Control+Shift down arrow, and then Control+X to cut it, use my arrow key, go up 3 times, hit Control+V to paste it. Of course, you might maneuver that around a little bit with the mouse. Generally speaking, when you're editing near where your cursor is, switching to the mouse and back is often slower, especially once you start learning these shortcuts. It's going to be significantly slower. I'll have a video on that sometime coming up. So using the keyboard in the right place at the right time is faster. When you're doing more random edits, the mouse is faster. So let me show you how to do this with the standard keyboard shortcut. Are you watching? Because it's going to go quick. I want to move it up 3, so I hit Alt+Shift, and I hit up arrow 3 times. I'm done. That's it. It's almost too fast to even make a video clip of it. I'm so fast, so easy. I don't even want to use the regular way now. So try it, practice it, see if you like it. Now, one more small addition to this. If you by chance select more than 1 paragraph, then the same keystroke will work for all of the paragraphs. In fact, the paragraphs don't initially have to be fully selected. Watch this. So I have my paragraph here. I'm going to hold down Control+Shift and select part of that paragraph and the whole next paragraph. And we might as well say the next paragraph. So now I'm going to use the same keyboard shortcut, Alt+Shift down arrow. We'll move down this time 3 times, and it automatically selects all 3 paragraphs, even if I only have part of it selected, and then moves them down with each arrow keystroke. Now, depending on your proportion of writing and editing in a particular session, you may get more or less mileage out of it. I know there's a trend right now in the writing community on YouTube where a lot of people do writing sprints where you don't go back and make any changes. Now, my style is, I cringe at leaving those errors there. And I know you're not supposed to, don't change them, but I just can't handle it. And so I have a style where I have some macros written to where I can quickly make notes, quickly select things and make notes for myself. And so I can kind of do my own hybrid of that. I will be sharing those as we go forward, but if you're in one of those intense, just forge ahead modes, and things like I'm sharing right now aren't going to be as helpful. But do let me know in the comments if you're interested in shortcuts, macros, and things that you might find useful for those intense writing sprints. Then I would be happy to try to share those with you. Okay, my second favorite shortcut I'm going to share with you today is outline, promote, and demote. Now, it sounds kind of like boring, but when you're doing note documents, at least that's where I use it a lot, is when I have a notes document where I record all my notes, my thinking about my outlines, the novel, the world building, the character building, scene ideas. I have this all in a long, structured, outlined document. And I personally got sick of having to figure out what outline level it was at, to the point where I actually ended up writing my own macro. And a few months back, I was looking through the keyboard shortcuts for Word's documentation, and they had one right there. I could have saved myself a day of writing and just used it. So I'm sharing with you, this is bonus freebie knowledge. Everybody likes bonuses, right? Well, you get bonus knowledge here for free. And well, it was already part of the video, but I'm going to share it with you here. So here we go. Okay, so what we have right here is Norum text. And what I want to do with it is I want to promote it to the current outline level. At the top of this document, I have an outline level. It's actually a defined chapter style for me, but I'm going to use this, and the shortcut's very easy. It's Alt+Shift+, left arrow. Boom, done. That's a little too easy, and it will save you many clicks of going back and forth finding out what level of outline you're at. So for the second one here, let's say I want to make that a subheading under that one. I can hit Alt+Shift+, right arrow. Boom. Now if you look over here in my outline, I have Norum and Nunc Viviera, whatever it is, and Norum is the higher level outline, and the next line is a sub outline. I find that very easy to use. That said, there is another alternative shortcut. I like this one because I don't have to remember what outline level I'm at. But if you're the kind you do remember that, or you do want to be specific, there are some other shortcuts. Let's say you want to promote a particular line to heading level 1, 2, or 3. You hold down Control+Alt and press 3 or 2 or 1. And it goes to that particular heading level, heading 1, 2, 3, respectively. If you like that work style, whatever works for you on that, I do encourage you to use the keyboard shortcuts. It will save you time and effort as you're working on your outline documents. And finally, if you have some text that is actually any style, it doesn't have to be in outline mode or an outline heading level, you can demote the paragraph immediately to the normal style. That is body level text with Control+Shift+N. So Control+Shift+N, boom, it goes all the way to the normal style. Now, if you want to do other styles, you can record macros to do that. That's not this video. That'll be an upcoming video if you're interested in that. I actually also have some variants of this. Well, I will cycle through some styles. I'll show that to you later. Don't fret too much over that now if it doesn't make sense, but I will show you that. Some ways to further enhance your productivity as you're choosing between various styles. Finally, an honorable mention. It's a shortcut that I find very useful when I need it, and it's not so useful when it doesn't work right. Now, that'll make more sense in a second as I show you what's happening, and I'll show you the problem with it. It finds a place in one of my favorites, but I kind of hate it at the same time. It's a love-hate relationship. When it's useful, it's very useful. I may jump to a different part of the document or make a change somewhere, and I want to go back to where I was. And when you need that, it stops you from having to scroll. Where was I? And you go right to it. Let's say I've been editing in this document here, but for whatever reason, I'm down here, and I make a spelling change here. So I made that change. Now, I forgot to put my bookmark in, or I just don't remember where I was. And the mnemonic is Control+Z is undo, but if I want to go back to it but not undo it, I use Control+Alt+Z. And it jumps right back to where I was. When you need that, it's very useful. Another place that you might find yourself doing this, I do this. I may be editing, doing some shortcuts or something, and I'll hit Control+N, which jumps right to the end of the document. Now, I am not going to remember the precise page that I'm on. This is where I really love this shortcut. If I do something like that, I don't mean to do it, but I'm in a completely different part of the document. I can hit Shift F5, with Shift F5 is the alternate, and jump right back to where I was. That's when I love this. Now, let me explain where I don't like it. Let's say I'm down here and I want to insert a new paragraph and type the word apple. If I now try to jump back to the previous edit, in my mind, I'm jumping back to one of these other places, one of these macro changes, but a macro not in the context of macros. I mean macro in the context of large scale changes. If I hit Control+Alt+Z or Shift F5, it just cycles through my last 3 characters. So that is characters, individual keystrokes for characters count as changes. And so if you've been typing, it's not going to work for you. It works, it's great when you need it and when you have special circumstances like I showed you at first, but if you've been typing, you're not going to find it useful. And that's the kind of the love-hate relationship I have with that one. Now, if you like these and you find them useful, I hope you do. I'm going to actually be going through, kind of progressively going toward more, I won't say useful, but more in-depth changes you can make to your version of Word to make it work like you want it to. That's kind of one of my goals there, is I'm making Word work how I like it to work. I love it as I add these little bursts of efficiency to my workflow. Even if it doesn't speed me up, it takes some of the tedium out of the changes that I'm making to the document. And I love that. Now, I hope you like it too as I go forward sharing these with you. Now, I'm not saying these tidbits here, particularly these 3 shortcuts here, are by themselves are going to revolutionize your writing and editing experience. What I am claiming is that as you add these to your workflow, you practice with them, you nurture them with some actual attempts at using them, you're going to find, at least I think you'll find, like I did, that they enhance your productivity, they make it less tedious. You do things that would have taken multiple keystrokes before, you do it much more quickly, allowing you to move on to what you're really wanting to do, that is get your text changed and edited and whipped into shape so you can put it out into the world a week earlier. Now, as I go forward, I will introduce more shortcuts, but also I'll give you a taste of some of the macros that I've implemented in my workflow that I really like them. I can't hardly work without them now when I'm writing. And I even had a case lately where Word messed up and I couldn't use some of them, and I was like, my fingers were like locked. I couldn't use my keystrokes, and I rely on them to help me do a lot of editing tasks very quickly. But those videos will be coming up. I'll show you how to do some simple macros, how to record them. Don't think of it as too technical. I've been teaching non-technical students for a long time, so if that's you, please stick with me. I think you'll find you enjoy this when you actually use it. And for now, thank you for listening. If you like this kind of content, let me know in the comments. Maybe hit that subscribe, tap that little bell icon so you can be notified as I release more videos, and maybe hit the like button too. Remember, just because your fingers are twitching feverishly tapping the keys doesn't mean you're getting your best work done. That's kind of my goal here, is to help you do your best work, because the end goal is not how many keystrokes you make, but to get that thing out, and getting it out a few days earlier, I think everyone would love. And I will see you in the next video.